Now, Olivia, when I hold my hand like this, we're gonna make the shoe appear over here. So I want you to slap my hand, okay?
Okay.
Are you ready?
Okay.
All right. Bang. Puma Fast-R. That's the review coming right up. I must admit, it's got an ugliness to it, like how my hair is looking now, but also a prettiness to it, like how my hair is looking now. Anyway, so let's start with the review. Puma's Fast R2.
Ed, Mommy says you have to cut the grass.
Now tell her I'm doing a review first.
Mommy said Daddy said you need to cut the grass.
Okay, summer is coming. Need to get the garden ready. But let me just tell you something quite true. I cut the grass way before I started filming and then started making it look like I'm cutting it because, hey, it was wild. The 3 things you need to know in terms of price: 230 pounds. The weight, I wear a 9.5 UK, 270 grams, which isn't too bad. It's not the lightest, but it's definitely not the heaviest within the fast race day shoes. In terms of the stack height, 40 at the back, 32 at the front, being an 8mm drop. Before we move on, my name is Aubrey. I'm a runner and I'm good with being me, but right now we gotta get this garden going. Olivia, bring your lawnmower. We're about to cut some grass with Olivia.
That does a bubble.
Anyway, from the top working our way down, let's start with the heel. It's got this heel tab here, and whilst it looks like it's a gimmick, that thing has been useful. It's got a pull tab as well on the tongue, which serves really well, both of them, in putting the shoe on. One thing I love is whilst the shoe looks very slick and kind of minimalistic in the design, back here at the heel, there is plenty of padding. So what you're seeing in the inside there and here within the black is actually padding that provides very good comfort as well as a good lockdown. I certainly didn't have any issues. The other thing, and I think is purely aesthetic, is this here, that shark fin. I don't know what it is. It does look and make you feel as if you're going fast. I do like that as a final nice little touch. Okay, let's move on. Next up, let's talk about the tongue. Now, the tongue is attached in 2 separate places, making it fully gusseted. You've got an attachment halfway up the laces, as well as within the collar of the shoe, it continues on attaching that tongue. When it comes to tongues, I have to say this is probably one of the best ones because I certainly look at 3 features when I look at tongues and reviewing them. That sounds like the ice cream van. I'll be back. Sorry, had to be done. I was saying, when reviewing a shoe and the tongue, I look for 3 things. Is it gusseted? Does it provide you comfort against the pressure of the laces when you're tying down? And is it breathable within itself? Tick, tick, and tick. In terms of alleviating that pressure, where you see that Fast-R logo, there is padding there that actually ensures that you've got comfort when you're tying the laces down. Perforations galore on the tongue, making it breathable. I already told you about the gussetedness. Let's talk the upper. Puma calls it Ultra Eve. I don't really care what Puma calls it. Let me just tell you what I want to describe it as. I think in calling it Ultra, it literally is the best that they have. I say that because I have all of the latest iterations of Puma running shoes, and I have to say this is definitely the best one. When I review uppers, I always talk 2 things, performance as well as appearance, and I want to start with appearance. I love that normal stripy logo thing. I love that on the side of the shoe, but on the other side, you then see 2 of those Pumas, Americans, Pumas. I love that. The one thing in terms of performance, I love the contradiction. Look at it. That is ultimately breathable, as well as very resilient in terms of the strength of that upper. In terms of fit, I'm a 9.5. It fit true to size, and the lockdown was perfect. I cannot complain. Let's talk about the midsole, and this is where it gets interesting. All right, hold on. Let's talk midsole, right? Midsole. Now, for those of you that watch my channel, You might remember my story with the first version of these. I had the Puma Fast R's, and 5 days into running in them, the carbon plate broke. Now, if you look at the structure of the shoe, it's decoupled. So you've got the midsole at the back over here and the rest of it at the front. Because it doesn't have the midsole connecting, might introduce some weakness. Anyway, in that first version of the Fast-R, I had to return it because it broke. Anyway, I recorded a video all about it. Puma saw that video and they reached out to me, replacing that shoe. And I'm happy to report that my first version of the Fast-R's are probably one of my favorite speed race day shoes. So when they told me they're bringing out the second pair, I got in touch with them super fast. There are some changes. There will be a video soon after this one comparing the first version to this. But let me talk about this midsole. When running shoes are produced by a company, you find different grades of them, from daily trainers, max cushion, as well as their premium race day midsoles. Puma has done that here. The one thing that you will see though is the carbon plate. That carbon plate runs all the way from the back and actually runs longer than the shoe. And that's why you see this lip over here. Can you see that? That is actually the carbon plate running the entire length and going past the shoe. What's that for? Now, I'm sure some scientific wizard will explain to you that that has some performance benefits. All I can tell you is that roll when you're towing off, from how I experienced it, is continued through the step through your stride. I enjoyed that. The one thing that kind of makes me feel a bit, I don't know how I feel, is the appearance of that. The appearance of this carbon plate, the midsole extending past your foot, gives it the intro that I gave you, that I think it's so ugly that it's so beautiful. I don't know if that makes sense, but there is. And I've had so many questions like, bro, what's the thing at the front? What's the thing with the lip? It looks like it's trying to pull a silly face. And I agree. Look, genuinely, I don't know how I feel. I really don't. I want to say, guys, you've broken the mold and I love what you've done over there, but I don't know. But in terms of the appearance, it retains that out of the box, breaking the rules shape that the first version had. And I like that Puma have not only done that, but turned the dial up and trying to give it that freakish look. And I love it for that. It's attractive in terms of people actually attending to it. You can't ignore a shoe that looks like this. I'm just in two minds about that silly face it's pulling at the front. Before we move on, I have to tell you about the feeling of this midsole. I love Nike's Zoom X in my Nike Invincible 3. But the feeling of this midsole here, let me show you. That is absolutely amazing. And you've got the same experience right here in the forefoot. Love that.
Well done. What's your...
Now, in terms of the outsole, we always talk heavy about Puma grip. It's best in class. But I don't know if this is the same grip that I experienced on my Deviate Nitro Elite 2s. I think it's a different formulation of it. It feels like it is. I don't know. But what I can tell you, when I review outsoles, I talk for two things. Coverage, giving you protection for the midsole, as well as the grip against whatever terrain you're going to be running in. Coverage, I can't ask for anything more than that. Full. In terms of the back though, you can see some exposed midsole, but I can assure you that the outsole protrudes past that, and therefore Puma has covered all the points of contact. In terms of the grip, I'm not going to complain. I don't think it feels like the usual Puma grip we're aware of or we've experienced before, but I ran only one of my runs on a rainy day. It held up very well. The rest were on the road, pavement, as well as light gravel and a light trail. It held up perfectly. I've got no complaints whatsoever. Now, Aubrey, thank you for the review, but I feel like all you've done is just hyped up this shoe. I don't really think you've given us any downsides or negatives about the shoe. So do you think there's anything they could have done to make this shoe better? Yeah, I think it's a fair point. It's a fair point. One, I think the look. I'm not too sure about this lip. I'm not too sure about this bit that's sort of hanging out. I love that the fact that they tried something. The second thing, with the Fast-R, I haven't had any issues here. I don't think anyone has reported any issues. But with this decoupled and the carbon plate kind of exposed like that, there will always be a weakness where that is not as fortified and therefore it is susceptible to breaking. Not saying that it will, so much so that the shoe actually comes with the warning to not actually try and break it. I think those would be my main issues. This is going to be one of those PB and you want to go all out. This shoe won't let you down. I definitely enjoyed it. Now, should you buy it? For me personally, at 230 pounds, it's a push. I would recommend you get the Deviate Nitro Elite 2. Up to today, that is my favorite shoe from the Puma running brand. I'll put a link to it in this description. I'm not affiliated with Puma, but if you're gonna look for a race day shoe, that's my recommendation. Okay, so if you guys want to check out the review of the Deviate Nitro Elite 2 I just talked about,
And putting that weight.
I'm putting that weight.